Thank you so much.
Okay, here we go. It looks like I cannot share my screen. I think you have to grant me permission.
Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Helena, could you please ensure that Mr. Fabien is given the ability to share his screen, please?
Yes.
Okay, looks okay now. All right. Can everybody see my screen now? Yep. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Fabien Brogard Cipriani. I'm the founder and CEO of HirePlanner.com. Very excited to be here with you today. Thank you all for making some time on a Sunday afternoon. I would like to first start by thanking the IOCC team for putting this event together. So I tried to put a few slides for you today, and I hope that you enjoy today's session. So today the topic is how to become an entrepreneur in Japan. So I will do my best to share some of my own experiences, and and I hope that you find this quite helpful and you feel inspired to maybe someday start your business. So first, before, just let me give you a very quick introduction about myself. I'm from France. I was actually raised in Cameroon in Africa for about 16 years. So I pretty much I did my entire childhood over there. And I've been in Japan now for about 20 years. So my expertise is into HR technology, HR systems, recruiting strategy, and employer branding and candidate experience. So everything which is around talent acquisition and recruitment, that's kind of my expertise. So I started my career working for like in the recruiting space, starting by working at Career Cross, which is an online job board. And I was in charge of sales and communication skills there for about 6 years. And I think during that time, I got the startup bug, right? So really this idea of working for a small organization that's, you know, motivated and passionate about finding solutions to people's problems. So again, sales, startup background initially. And then after I moved to Apple, which was one of my customer. So over there, I was managing the recruiting operation for Japan and Korea. So that was a very interesting / challenging transition, going from startup into a large organization, and also from sales into HR, which is a very kind of different type of a job, but both amazing experience. And that could help me to really figure out, you know, where I could excel and where I could add the most value. And then after this, I switched to, I moved to Tesla, where I did a similar type of job where I was in charge of recruiting. I spent there a few years as well before deciding to start my own business. And I started my own business back in September 2016. So we just celebrated our fifth anniversary a few months ago. So just very quick introduction. HirePlanner is an HR tech company. So we provide 3 types of services. We provide online job advertising. So we help people to find and access new job opportunities. In general, all those job opportunities are for kind of international / startup companies, not just startup, but global organization and startup organizations. We also provide HR automation technology, and we organize online job fairs as well. Everything we do is about helping companies attract great talent in Japan, and also offering a great job search experience for young talent like yourself. And I'm taking advantage of this opportunity to share with you the date of our next online job fair, which is going to be happening in about 2.5 weeks on April 13th. So if you're looking for a job, or if you're looking for any kind of career coaching, please feel free to join us and register online. It's free, and you'll have the opportunity to not only meet other coaches, but also potential companies and potential employers. Okay, So today's topic was a little bit different. It was interesting. When we came up with the theme, I was not really sure if it was going to be a topic that necessarily interests a lot of young talent, because the first thing usually people do after they graduate, they're interested in getting their first job, right? Their first experience, but very few actually think about building their own business. When I was your age, personally, I would have really appreciated learning from the early days, really what it takes to actually start your business and what, how to become an entrepreneur in Japan. But this is a big topic. How to become an entrepreneur is a big topic, and we could talk about it for many hours. And honestly, I think there's a lot of people that know so much more than me on that topic. So I'd like to kind of narrow down the topic itself and really share with you more about what to expect. Those are really kind of I just try to simplify today's topic on what to expect. What does it mean really to start your business, right? And I'll share with you my own experience, and I'll try to cover 3 major points and topics. The first one is what to prepare if you ever want to start your business. I'll give you a few points on what you need to remember and what you need to prepare before you go ahead. The other thing as well, what's the difference between being an employee and being an entrepreneur? Right, so we'll cover that. Keep in mind as well that my experience, I became an entrepreneur in my mid to late 30s, right? So slightly different than your current situation, right? And the third topic, I'll do my best to share with you really tips on how you can succeed as an entrepreneur, okay? So first of all, I'd like to start with asking you, I don't know how many people here can maybe share on the chat here, but here is just to give you an idea of what's the percentage. What do you think the percentage, people are more than welcome to answer on the chat, but what do you think the percentage of startups that fail before their second year of operation, before the end of their second year of operation? All right, so I'll let you just a few seconds. Let's see. I'll just have a chat here. 84, 40%. Okay, I'll share with you. It's not as bad as you think, actually. It's 20%. So most companies make it to their second year. Then after, they pretty much in the year, 20% is for the second year, 30% is for the third year, 38% is fourth year, and this is the fifth year. So basically, past 5 years, 84% of the companies will not exist anymore. So just to give you some, so I'm not trying to turn you off or make you less excited about starting a new business, but it's just to reinforce the fact that it's not easy. It's not easy, and you gotta prepare for it, and you have to be quite strong mentally before you get into this adventure. Okay, I'll ask you another question. What is the main cause of startup failure? If you guys can maybe just type A, B, C, D. So the first one is no market need, right? So clearly the business was not planned carefully, there was not enough research, there was just no market need, or you simply ran out of cash, right? Cash flow is very important, or you don't have the right team, or you've been just outpowered by the competition, or you just simply have a pricing cost issue. Okay, so the majority is A, right? So the fact that there's no real market available for your service, or simply customers just are not willing to pay money for your service or for your product. That's the main reason at 42%, right? So the main reason of actually business failure for 42%. Okay. Now let's talk about something more interesting here. Though it's too bad this graph was really nice and trending upwards until about 2019. This is really how you can, the probability or the possibility of startups to actually get funding in Japan. So Japan was doubled its investment pretty much in the last 5 years up until 2019. So everything was trending upwards, and it was a great time for startup to actually get investment. Obviously, because of the COVID situation, we can notice a downturn, but I'm really confident that this is just temporarily, and it should still be good for a lot of startups to innovate and create new products, new technology and innovations in the market. Japan definitely needs that. So this is just to give you an idea of it's good. It's getting easier than before to actually get invested to build your business. Another thing as well that could be interesting for you is the top 10 sectors by startup funding. So this shows you the data for 2019 and also 2020. So you can have a look here at the industry sectors that get the most funding, basically. So here for Hire Planner, we would be going into the SaaS category and also the HR tech category. But you have a couple of new categories here, like clean tech, sharing economy, and also drug manufacturing and discovery. Obviously, this is really much related to COVID, right? So a lot of companies are getting investment for that sector comparing to the year before. All right. So now this is just to give you kind of some rough market information, just in case you're thinking to someday build your business, or maybe just simply join a startup, right? Hopefully today's presentation will really help you to understand what it's like to work for a startup, and maybe understand more your manager who took the risk and took the chance to build their startup, or simply will help you to also think about really what to do, what to plan before you do your business. So I'll start with a couple of points here. So 8 points. It was really hard for me to only limit it to 8, because there's many points that I could share here on what you need to prepare before you start your business. So the first thing I would say, and again, all those are very simplified points, right? I'll keep it very easy, main points to understand and grasp when you start your business. First thing is you need to understand that you need to save enough money to live in for 3 years. So you need to make sure that you're going to be okay for 3 years. If you have enough savings for 6 months, it is not enough realistically, right? Obviously you can work, you can get investment, but at the same time, remember that investors really appreciate sometimes the fact that you don't get a salary for the first 1 or 2 years, right? They can see your passion, your commitment for what you're trying to build, or a very low salary, right? So again, remember, the more savings you have before you start a business, the better. The other thing as well is if you only have a certain amount of money to cover your living expenses for a short period of time, then it will distract you from your business, because you'll constantly stress about making money, and you will not focus on actually building value and building your business, right? So it's very important to really focus on what's essential, and it's growing your business and offering more and more value to your customers. The other thing as well is, understand it's not for everyone, and there's nothing wrong. Like some people, think that starting up is very cool, but it's not as cool as you may think. It's definitely not for everyone. There's no shame in following the corporate life. On contrary, I personally think that the smartest people actually go for corporate life, and you got to be a little crazy to start your business just because it's tough, and you got to constantly be okay to deal with new challenges that come your way. Another important thing is you got to be ready for postponing your quality of life, right? So here it's especially true if you don't get investment, right? If you're into fancy, if you're into, you're used to a certain quality of life, then yeah, you probably have to rethink your priorities, again, depending on how much funds and how much, capital you have when you start, right? But again, it's all about keeping things personally. When I started my business, I didn't pay myself for the first 2 years, right? So you can imagine I had 3 kids, paying the school, paying the taxes, paying everything, no salary for 2 years. It puts things into perspective, right? The other thing as well is expect, as this is especially true in Japan, expect when you build your business, everything is going to take more time. Things never go as planned. It's just a reality, right? You can always think about best case scenario, but you should always be ready for things to just take 2x, 3x more time. It's better to be prepared. If you think about Japan, admin procedures, gaining the trust of clients, building new connections, refining your product or your service based on the feedback, everything just takes time, right? So remember that when you start your business. Another thing as well is I would recommend, if you ever want to start your business, it's good to have an experience in sales, simply so that you can get used to hear the word no, and so that you can get familiar with rejection, right? It's very important to develop this kind of a psyche and be mentally strong and not take things personally, because when you start your business, a lot of people will say no because it's new, because they never heard about you, they don't know anything about you, and sometimes they're not really interested in knowing about you. So you will get just a lot of people just easily say no, especially at the beginning when you're trying to build your brand awareness, right? Obviously this change, but it takes perseverance. It takes a lot of work and discipline, but it's very important to get used to the fact that a lot of people will say no. So if you're a little too sensitive, think a little bit before you start your business, and highly recommend you to try a sales opportunity. That will be essential for you to drive your business. Okay, the other thing as well, I think we talked about this in the last session. Somebody was asking me about, how to build a business that makes money, right? And I think the way I answered is really, this is secondary, right? You have to build a business that is solving a problem. That's fundamental. Your business needs to be kind of removing some friction somehow in the space that you're getting into, right? So it's all about the value that you're bringing. You need to ask yourself, why do I start the business? What is the story? Why you're motivated? Why you're passionate about fixing that problem? And that's essential. If you're building a business just to make money, it's honestly, I don't think it's gonna work, or it might work short term, but it's definitely not gonna work long term. But that's a personal take. Let's see, this is more specific to Japan. If you're a Japanese person, then great. But if you're a foreigner, I highly recommend you to get a Japanese business partner. It really, really helps, especially at the beginning, to build the credibility with strategic business partners, or even just getting new customers. The fact that you have someone who's Japanese shows that you're committed to Japan, and also that you understand the Japanese market, and that you're committed to stay, right? So all those things are really highly connected together. So yeah, and the other thing as well, starting a business in your own country is already hard. So imagine starting your business as a foreigner in Japan. It's probably better to get some help, right? And not do it necessarily by yourself, especially the first time. And the 8th point, I would say, start early. Right, so start early doesn't mean just start right away after you graduate and just go and start your business. No, I mean by starting early, like start to do research, right? Start to project yourself. Start to think like a business owner, even if you're an employee, right? Always ask yourself, if it was my money, how would I do it, right? And this will really help you to start thinking not at just an employee who's doing a specific task, but more as a business owner and somebody who gets the big picture of the entire business and thinks more strategically. So that will actually help you. But if you have an idea that you want to pursue, make a business plan, do the right research, ask around, do some surveys, try to validate your business concept, right? This is what I mean by starting early, is just, you can do it on your free time, even if you have a job already, right? So that's the first kind of category, is really like what to prepare for. There's a number of other things, but I thought those were the most important ones for me. Any questions so far? Please feel free to ask any questions on the chat. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. So the next topic is really what will change after your business start. This is something that, again, very really personal, I would say. Is first thing that starts is really your life. It's very, very different in the sense that this picture really represents the thrill, the fear, and the excitement all together combined by starting your business. Because imagine moving from employee to business owner, right? So everything is under your control. You have ups and downs. You will have, your worst day and your best day in the same day, right? So imagine you lose a customer, you gain another one, and at the end of the day, it's just constantly ups and downs. So if you like stability, maybe you'll need to rethink. But if you like the excitement, and if you constantly just really focus on your goal, and you like this kind of a exciting adventure, then this is something that you will really enjoy. Another thing that changes is your bank account on the first few years, right? The first few years, and again, this is if you don't get necessarily a lot of, like, millions of dollars worth of investment. If you start your business with your own savings, at some stage you will see your bank account just go very quickly down, because obviously you have to pay for a number of things. You have to pay for your staff, you have to invest initially in developing your business. So there's definitely more money coming out than coming in. So you have to be mentally ready for this. Stress, but actually, you know what? Stress, you will have stress. You always have stress, whether you're an employee, whether you're a business owner. But in my situation, it was a very different type of stress. So working as an employee for a corporation, you have stress that is related to, sometimes people tell you to do things that you don't necessarily believe in, or you don't think it's going to work, or you're worried about your performance, you're worried about losing your job. Those are kind of stress that you will get as an employee. As an entrepreneur, you don't have that so much, but you have more stress that's related to paying your staff. Like, okay, are you going to have enough cash flow? Are you going to be able to pay all your employees at the end of the month? And I really thought that I would be more stressed about this kind of stress than the other one that I used to have. But in fact, no, because I'm dealing with it much better, because it's kind of up to me. It's like, like, it's all up to me, and I have to make it work. And if something doesn't work, I can live with it because I tried. I'm like, okay, I've done this, it didn't work, moving on. I can accept it. And it's a lot, I don't know, for some reason, it's just a lot easier for me to deal with. People might operate differently. But again, the stress you will have will change. It will be a very different type of stress. Something else that changes is your friends and your network. When I started my business, I really thought that certain people in my network would support me and would help me. And turned out they didn't. And some others that I really didn't think would be interested in what I'm doing actually showed a lot of interest. And some other CEOs actually raised their hand and say, hey, Fabien, you're doing this. This is great. Can I meet you? Can I support you? So it's kind of like your network is going to shift. And it will open a lot of new doors, because you become an entrepreneur, you become a business owner, it's like you have a lot of other CEOs that went through your journey and they remember and they just want to help you. So, you know, this is something that's very, very precious, and you have to keep that in mind, is just really embrace that and welcome those other CEOs or other business owners, welcome the time they're willing to give you, and learn from it, you know. So it's very important. And take all the help that they offer. Just take it and be grateful. The other thing as well that you will learn quickly is time management and prioritization. I think when you're a business owner, you have to wear so many hats. You have to wear the sales hat, the marketing hat, the finance hat, you know, so it's very important for you to manage your time wisely. You can't waste time, right? And that's why you will realize when you email a CEO, usually the mails are very short when they respond to you. It's like one line. They don't mean to be rude. They're just super busy, and they just try to give you the answer in the shortest, the most efficient way, right? So remember as well, when you're a young professional and you email the CEO, always keep your mail super short. It's straight to the basic, essential, and it's all related to time management and prioritization. The other thing is you learning patience. When you're an entrepreneur, you cannot do everything, right? So, and I think this is one of the hardest thing about running a business, is that you already have all those ideas, and you know where you want to go and how you want to build something, but you know it's going to take time to get there, and you just have to be patient, and you have to understand that your team is doing the best that they can, and you have to sometimes remember not to push them too hard, because it's just a natural thing. As a business owner, you will be the most passionate person in the company, and you will try to inspire your team to do the same. But again, remember, you have to, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you have to really pace yourself and your energy until the end. Holidays, I'll go over this very quickly because you probably will say goodbye to the holidays. If you're a business owner, you will have holidays, but the thing is, I'm talking more about holidays in here, right? So if you go on a holiday, you will always think about work and business and how things are working. So you will always figure out a way to stay connected. So holidays, are there going to be really holidays? Maybe for some. And the other thing as well that changes is your brain just doesn't stop. You always want to learn new things, right? Because you always want to bring new skills into your business. You want to learn from other CEOs. You want to learn from other people around you. You become a better listener. And and you just have this constant desire to develop your skills and bring more value to your own business and to your customers. All right. So far, so good. No questions. Okay. So that was really like the 8 points I wanted to highlight for what will change after you move from employee to entrepreneur. And now I'd like to share 8 tips on how to succeed as an entrepreneur. Actually, let me rephrase that. 8 tips to survive as an entrepreneur. Succeed, I don't consider myself a successful entrepreneur yet. I don't have millions of dollars. You know, I'm running a small startup, so I don't want to be pretentious and, you know, show you like how to succeed, but at least you know how to grow and how to make sure your business is still here after 5 years. Right? So the first thing I would say is stay fit. Make sure to take care of your health. And remember that a healthy body is a healthy mind as well. If you're a workaholic, always in front of your computer and working, your mind will not follow, right? So it's very important to keep that balance, and you will be a lot more productive if you're physically healthy and fit as well. So this is something super, super important to remember. obviously do something that you're passionate about, something that you really believe in, and that you think that everybody should have, right? So as I mentioned earlier, don't start a business just for money. It's just not going to work, right? Also, don't start a business just because you're in the industry and you know this industry well, right? You really have to be passionate, because all your employees, your colleagues, your clients, they will feel that passion. They will see that you're really in it for the right reasons, and that will actually inspire people around you. So it's very important to be passionate about. Elon Musk is one of those people. You can see how passionate he is about everything he does, right? And it's contagious. As I mentioned earlier, selling, really. I mean, you need to be a great salesperson and also a great marketing person if you want to be an entrepreneur. And if you're not, make sure to surround yourself with those people, right? You cannot survive as a business, or you cannot grow as a business if you don't do sales efficiently. So what does it mean selling? Is like just, again, do events, do networking events, do podcasts, attend webinars, seminars. It's all about being visible and building as many connections as possible. So don't be shy. That's really, just don't be shy. Another thing to remember, if you ever start your business, select and manage your clients. So what I mean by that is, I know at the beginning, especially, this was valid for me for my first couple of years, where you have some companies that are asking you crazy discounts, or they're asking you more and more from the service. And to the point that you realize you're going to work so hard for this customer and you're not going to get any revenue. So it's slowing you down to develop your business somewhere else, right? So, and usually the companies that pay the least are the clients that complain the most in general. So remember that. It's very important. Sometimes you have to walk away from some clients because they'll just be very detrimental, and they'll just suck a lot of time out of your schedule, right? So and they're not going to help you on the stress side. So that's very, very important to as much as you can select your customers. Get mentors and guidance. So just try to meet a lot of other people in your same situation, some other entrepreneurs, some other people, and again, you can start already, even if you're an employee, you can try to build your connections with more like senior level people or C-levels, and, try to ask them questions on what you believe, what you want to do, and things like that. Just build that connection and try to get mentors and try to get guidance. All those people are actually always really willing to help people that are going through the same things that they've been through, right? Because they didn't get the help before, which is why they're really passionate about helping others to follow their footsteps. A little bit like, today's event, really. Okay. The other thing is, you don't need to have a perfect product. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? So this is something that I've learned the hard way for the first couple of years. I was more of a perfectionist type of person, where everything I did, it had to be really, really, perfection doesn't exist, but it had to be really good when it comes out. And I realized in my industry, in software, you can't really do it this way. You constantly have to release something that's better, ask around, get your customer to validate, and get your customers' feedback. That actually really helps you to solidify the relationship with your clients and give them little by little improvements. So again, very, very important. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay to release something that's just good, and you can make it better and better. The importance is progress. That's the most important. As long as you're going in the right direction and you're showing your clients progress, that's good. A little bit related to time management, right? We talked about this. I'll go over this very quickly. Prioritize. It's not just time, but also make sure that to really be listening to your customers, right? They will tell you what they need, and you have to be willing to accept the fact that your initial plan was wrong. And it's very important for you to pivot and change so that you can build something that's more designed for what your customers need. Right? The ability to pivot quickly and to adapt to a market which is changing all the time, this is really a key criteria of success. And the last point I would say would be embrace challenges and stay positive. So what I mean by that is don't take things personal. You have a lot of people that will criticize. It's easy to criticize. And often the people that criticize are the ones that don't necessarily do a lot. So you have to keep that in mind, right? You are trying to do something as an entrepreneur. So only take the constructive criticism. Don't take it personally, but really just listen and be like, okay, does it make sense? Yes or no? And use that, channel that to make your product or your service even better, right? It's all about just even constructive criticism. Don't take it personally. Just really think, is this a great idea to make your product or your service better? And if the answer is yes, that's great. So yeah, so those are kind of the 8 points as well that I would recommend, like how to succeed / survive, especially for the first few years. If you're really interested in someday starting your business, I would recommend you 3 books. 3 books that really helped me to plan better for my business. So the first one is called The E-Myth. Those are all very easy book to read, right? They're not, they should really give you a really good overview of what it's like. So highly recommend you the E-Myth. E stands for entrepreneur. And yeah, if you need the information about this book after this session, please let me know. The other one is The Lean Startup. The Lean Startup is covering a number of things, especially for online software business, and this attitude of never and always releasing something on an ongoing basis, even if it's not perfect, but just improving it constantly. This is where I've learned that. And then the other one is Good to Great. This is a bestseller. Highly recommend you. It's a great book from Jim Collins. This is kind of the Bible of successful businesses, but more like market kind of information. So yeah, so those are 3 books that I would recommend. So again, like the E-Myth, the Lean Startup, and Good to Great. Thank you, everyone, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Yeah.
We are thankful that you shared your brave experience with us, Mr. Fabien. I feel that you have motivated us today to dare to do more in our lives. We are opening the floor now for a Q&A session. Participants, please capitalize on this opportunity. For those that have ambitions and curiosity about starting your very own business one day, please take this opportunity to start the first step.
While people think about asking questions, keep in mind that there's no age to start a business, right? You could start a business today. You could start a business, when you're in your 50s, 60s. I always think that it's just a matter of being passionate about what you want to build, right? And if you believe in what you're going to build. So if you need to have and for me, I wanted to build my own business even when I was working before one of my first jobs. I always wanted to build something, but sometimes I was just lacking the right team or the finances or the experience. There was always something that for some reason it just didn't work. And I felt, okay, it's destiny. It's just my time. And so again, there's no right timing and wrong timing, and it's all about when you feel like you've got this great idea that can really bring something to the table. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with the questions. Roy, go ahead.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Fabien. I thought it was very detailed, but also very concise. You mentioned just now about business partners and clients, how that kind of, business clients and partners can make or break your business. So it's important to have this kind of business relationship. But I would like to ask you how, because I'm thinking a common struggle is to try to decide which one is the best, let's say, business partner or client. Like, how do you prioritize clients? Like, what goes into your mind? Because of course, to say that every business partner gives you the same experience is wrong, right? Like, of course, some people work better with you, maybe. What are the qualities you look for in a sustainable relationship with a client? Yeah.
Okay, so that would be business partner. You mean by real like potential clients, right? Like not like employees working within your team, right? Okay, so for clients, I mean, let me think. For example, you have. I'm just gonna try to give an example. Could give you some theory, but it's always easier to give an actual example. For example, if you, okay, so if you build a piece of software and you're deciding to, let's say you build a piece of software that's designed for, so this is not related to what I'm doing, but a piece of software that's going to serve the pharmaceutical industry, right? Let's say that's your goal. Imagine you suddenly have a company that works in the entertainment industry or the hospitality industry, something that's completely separate from where you're trying to go, right? Your vision is to go towards the pharmaceutical industry. And you've made your research, you've made that it's all there, like the real value, the real market. This is where you can grow your business the most, is this industry. But suddenly, and at the beginning, for the first 2 years, you don't have so many clients, and suddenly you've got this company that comes and say, hey, we could do something together. Can you design, can you change your product for us? We'll pay you some money so that you can change your product for us in the hospitality industry. Again, this is just an example. Now you have to, this is tricky because some companies will be like, okay, well, we really need the cash, so yeah, let's do it. But then that means they're shifting their initial vision, and that's not bringing them closer to where they want to go, right? It will help them to get some cash on the short term, but it will actually slow them down in the long term, right? So again, I'm not saying, maybe this is actually a good pivot.
Okay.
Maybe you build something for the healthcare, and then you realize actually there's a lot of demand from the hospitality industry, so you can shift your product, right? But you got to be sure that you're doing it right? Yeah. So for the right reason. So it's kind of I'm not sure if I'm answering your question in the best possible way, but the idea is you have to think about those type of things, like this is where you want to go. But again, sometimes more than once, I thought I was doing something right. And then by just listening to my customer, I realized, okay, maybe I got to prioritize this slightly differently, and I readjust my plans.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I absolutely think you did. I think you told me a lot of, I think it was a lot of things jam-packed into one like explanation. You spoke about having a long-term relationship. So don't just prioritize a client that's the highest bidder, right? That's bad for, that's good for short-term money, but bad for long-term growth, right? So yeah, I think you answered the question very well. Thank you very much for the answer, Mr. Fabien.
No problem. Pleasure.
Tanvir, go ahead.
Thank you very much for this amazing presentation. You talked about we should have enough money to last us for like around 3 years, and it got me wondering, like at the very start of the business, what are the things like in terms of like legal documentations? What are the things we should keep in mind? Like, for example, like in terms of making and selling a product, the product needs to be patented if it's something unique or innovative. So if I'm trying to provide a service, what sort of legal rights should I keep in mind?
I mean, again, it really depends on your product or your service, right? But you have to, especially nowadays, there's just more and more legal requirements, compliance requirements, data privacy requirements, and you cannot come up with those documents by yourself unless you are a legal expert, right? So you need to know that, okay, I'm going to have to work with a legal company that's going to prepare those documents for me. But those are just like really a small portion, right? So, but once you put together, you have to know, it's just really think about your expenses. Are you going to hire people? Are you going to need to pay salaries? Are you going to need an office? Are you going to need equipment, computers? All those things just really add up very quickly, especially when it's you paying for it, right? So, but at the same time, the advantage now is that you can have access to, especially for online and tech related products, there's a lot of solutions out there that are affordable and that you can use, comparing to 10, 20 years ago, where it was a lot more expensive to actually have access to those type of technologies. Yeah, did I answer your question, or you want me to elaborate?
I do get the gist of it. I just wanted to know, like let's say, can you name 3 things like that I should always get? Like, for example, let's take your company as an example. When you start expanding, what sort of things did you keep in mind? Like, did you like got yourself partnered with a, let's say, lawyer company or something, so that you can take care of all the legal documents? So I was just thinking, like, there are 3 things that we should keep in mind in terms of legal documentation.
Yeah, I mean, and you also mentioned about pattern, right? So if you have a product, yeah, pattern. Obviously, if you have a product that's especially valid, I would say, for hardware. If you have a product that you don't want anybody to copy, it's always better to get a patent. The other thing as well is, remember, having a patent will help you to get investors as well, because the investors will know that, okay, your invention or your product is protected. So it's a very good bargaining chip to get investment if you have a patent as well. The other thing, you have trademark for your logo, all kinds of things. But at the same time, it's tricky, the timing of it, because more importantly, you want to also get a proof of concept. You want to make sure that your business is actually going to make money, and that it's popular, and that it's well received by the market, before you start spending a lot of money on all those legal related things. So, if you have the cash and you're really confident that your business is going to grow, then it's definitely worth to do all those things before. But in real startup life, it doesn't always work that way.
Thank you very much for answering.
Yeah, no problem. But it's great. I'm very excited to see such young people like you guys, who are genuinely interested in that kind of topic. Like, this is great to know young people interested in starting their business. You guys are way more mature than I was at your age.
If anyone's unable to speak, by the way, if anyone's unable to speak, then please share your comments in the chat. But wait for that. Actually, I have a question as well I want to ask. It's more of a funny question, kind of, but I just was interested in this. So when you're actually doing internal recruiting for your company, do you use your own program to do that?
Of course.
I thought that was interesting. Sorry.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm definitely not gonna use a competitor's product for my recruiting. No, I do use my own product, and it works pretty well. Yeah.
Thank you.
I also
that'd be cool.
I also have a question, Mr. Fabien, if that's okay. So my question is under one of the points that you covered, which is time management. And as you said, that a lot of CEOs and investors don't really have that much time to pay their full attention to what you're saying or what you're writing. And one such skill that people generally advise you to take up is how to be concise and precise, which is an elevator pitch, I've heard. So how important do you think that elevator pitches are in these times? And an add-on to that question is, have you ever been in a situation when you started up young and you gave an elevator pitch to an investor, a potential investor? So, yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm trying to understand your question. Would you be able to kind of clarify, because you talked about time management and also elevator pitch. I'm just trying to understand. Could you please clarify your question?
Yes. So like it just, for example, if you're in an event and you meet a potential investor and you want to give an elevator pitch. So does that happen in these times? And do you think that it's a skill that young entrepreneurs should take up, to be concise, and when you're sharing your ideas, how to be concise with your pitches and how to grab attention? So that's my question.
I see. I mean, I may answer differently on another day, but right now the first thing that comes to mind is you should give an elevator pitch only if people want to hear it. So I would say first thing you need to do is ask questions before you even pitch anything, because you need to ask people questions to figure out, first of all, what are they interested in, and if you're looking for an investor, you can first figure out, are they investing? What kind of things are they investing into? What kind of industry sector are they investing into? You should just ask a lot of questions to kind of figure out, is this really someone who you could potentially work with, and maybe you can offer them value? Because if you start pitching like this without doing a little research beforehand, you will come across as very aggressive and kind of just trying to sell your thing, right? And nobody really likes that. So I would say always start by building the relationship and asking questions to figure out the other stakeholders' priorities and interests. And only if you think you can meet those needs, then you can ask them, would you be interested to learn more about what I do? You're asking them, you ask them the question and you're asking them to make the decision. This is usually, this would be my style. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Yes, yeah, that was a great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always ask questions. It's the best way to trigger something, and to also make sure that they are in, that their mindset is in the listening mode. Right. So, but first of all, you need to be the one listening first. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fabien. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? Again, if anyone has questions that come up, or if at any point in your career that you're thinking to start a business, you don't know where to start, then please connect with me. I will be more than happy to make some time for you, and ask you a lot of questions about your business plan, your idea, where you want to go. Yeah, always happy to. I got a lot of help in the first few years that I started my business. So if I have the opportunity to pay it forward someday, I would love to. So.
Well, with that, I think we will bring the Q&A session to a close for now. Thank you once again, Mr. Fabien, for teaching us today. I would like to remind everyone that if you have not already signed up for IOCC, sorry, that's just Razane. If you have not already signed up for IOCC, now is the best time. Spread the information to your friends and colleagues. We really look forward to seeing everyone at our next event. That being the academic session on the 30th of March. We'll have Afisane Gusta. He's a renowned producer for RGA, one of the largest digital agencies. They have global offices all over the world, so really please attend this session.
Thank you everyone for your attention, and we hope that you learned a lot. Should you feel that our academic sessions could use improvements, please fill out this feedback form if you would feel inclined to. Keep in mind the deadline for the team applications is coming soon. For more precise information on IOCC, please check out our website. We wish you a fantastic day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
Monsieur
much.
Fabien.